Hey guys, welcome into this episode of the Out of Our Minds podcast. Today, we are delighted to introduce you to an incredibly special guest, a woman who has been a pillar on Nikki and I's journey, not just in our business and in our mission, but has truly become a friend and a soul sister on this path. This is Sarah Zula. She is a subconscious healing expert, teacher, and mentor who has helped thousands of people break free from limitation at the root level. When you work with Sarah, you do not just work with the mindset and surface level shifts. You go all the way down to the deepest levels of who you are and transform there. It is at the subconscious level that we often remember and fully embody who we are as limitless beings. And Sarah is a guide for that. It is through her subconscious modalities that she has helped thousands of people heal at the root and to then experience new levels of self-love, life fulfillment, and spiritual ascension. This episode is also quite special in that it's the first time you'll experience the three of us all together as a prelude to the experience that's going to unfold inside of the portal. The portal is our 6-month reality-altering experience. It's a safe haven for souls remembering that are ready to activate their creative genius, their unique soul essence, and to remember their mission. Sarah is going to be a part of this 6-month program, hosting her very own subconscious healing sessions to help integrate all of the modalities, all the teachings, all the rememberings that we access inside the portal. So in this episode, you're going to get a first taste and a really incredible look at the world that becomes available when you find freedom on a subconscious level. Sarah has created her very own subconscious healing modalities that are truly life-altering, and we do not say that lightly. Nikki and I are both walking testaments of her work and of what happens when you use your life, your work, your visions to catapult you into freedom. Her work gets to that deepest level and operates on the soul level where you experience who you truly are, the most limitless, free version of you. This conversation today is not just going to inspire you, it is going to show you what is available to you when you find this freedom and remember who you truly are. Sarah's work has truly changed our lives, and we are so incredibly grateful to her, not just for this conversation, but for the years of support she has provided Nikki and I. And it is such an honor to have her inside the portal. We are so excited for you all, our community, the Omis, to experience her on this podcast. As you guys know, we really don't have guests on that often. So when we bring someone on, you know it is someone who is profound and is devoted to their craft and their mission. That is Sarah Zula. We are so excited to have you drop into a beautiful, incredible, deep, potent, life-altering conversation that is ahead. And if you are a soul that has awakened, that is ready to go all in on their mission and wants to be inside a space that is created for souls remembering, a space to activate your genius, to remember the true essence of who you are, to remember your divinity, your creator consciousness, then the portal is for you. You can check out all the information about the portal in the description below. As a reminder, the portal begins on January 21st, 2026. We're just a few weeks away from things starting up, and we are so incredibly excited to dive into this space. So know that this conversation, the energy between the three of us, is just a sneak peek and a fraction of what you'll experience inside the portal. Thank you so much for being here. Without further ado, let us step into the world of Sarah Zula.
We are so excited that you're here, like beyond. I was just telling Bella, I feel like this is a long time coming. Like a long time coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
I kind of want to start off this conversation like coming in real hot. When I first discovered subconscious healing, I was quite literally blown away with the understanding of how truly limitless we are as beings. And this was an immediate paradigm shift for me. I can still remember those moments when I was living in LA and I was first discovering your work. I was discovering other guides and experts in the world of subconscious healing. And I was just completely blown away by this knowing that there is a truth within me, awareness, consciousness, the true essence of who I am that is so limitless, like beyond. And this started to change everything for me in my life because I was living in these outdated ways of seeing myself and the world that made me feel small and incapable. And I would love for you to drop us in and really let people feel into the depth of how freaking limitless they are as a being and how inherently free we are. And then if you are feeling called to drop us into where the subconscious plays a role in us experiencing the illusion of limitation and the illusion of separation and all of these things that I know we're going to eventually dive into.
Beautiful. So thank you so much for having me, and way to start us off hot. I'm so honored
I'm like, we're going in hot.
I'm so honored to be here, and what an epic way to start us off with. And I love getting to talk about this with your specific community. It's such an honor because I know that the Omis are here for it. You know what I mean? And the Omis are like, yes,
yeah.
let's talk about our limitless potential. So it's so beautiful. I can like put down any of the world of proof and just dive right in and like talk from the heart,
yeah.
which is, I'm just so grateful to be here. So I think the most beautiful thing about subconscious freedom work, and what definitely turned me on to it when I was really young, when I was around 16, is when I found this work. And when I really started studying it and becoming obsessed with it, is because of exactly that. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm living in this limited world that I'm not happy in, I don't want to be in. And all of a sudden, like, books started falling off the bookshelves that was like the subconscious mind. If we want to create change in our lives, we want to create change from the subconscious mind. If we want to experience lasting change, we want to change from the subconscious mind. But what I realized with all of these teachers and all of these books is that people weren't really telling us how. You know, they were telling us then, it's like, oh yeah, the subconscious mind generates 95% of our experience of reality. It's creating the perceptions that we hold. Everything we see in our world is being filtered through our subconscious mind. So every time we think about what we want to do, how we feel, if we want to go to a coffee shop, if we want to go to a different place, like all of these decisions we're making are being driven from the subconscious mind. So I'm learning about our potential. I'm learning that we're these limitless beings. I'm studying these things back in the day. And yet all of these teachers were like, and you're not aware of what's in your subconscious mind. The famous image, maybe some people, you guys have seen it before, or some people listening have seen it, with the iceberg. At the top of like the 5% is with the conscious mind. And at the bottom is the 95%, which is the subconscious mind. This is one of the most famous images. And I could not accept that. I couldn't accept that. I was like, so we're these limitless beings with infinite potential, yet we're not aware of the thing that's generating 95% of our experience. I was like, I cannot accept this. So for me, the biggest aha moment was like this resistance I had when I was young to just like accepting what was being told. And I realized, wait a minute, if we're seeing our reality field, and it's everything we see and everything we feel is being filtered through our subconscious mind, and we're these beings with infinite potential, then there's no way that we just could be not aware of what's in the subconscious, because we're experiencing it every day through the way that we see things. So I started to pay attention to the way that I see things, the way I talk about things. Because I'm like, if I'm telling a story about what happened, then the story I tell is going to give me insight into what's going on in my subconscious mind. I felt like I felt like a mad scientist at this point. I was like obsessed studying the things going on in the universe, because studying the things going on in my reality field, looking at the signs of the universe and listening to the stories I'm telling and listening to the stories other people are telling, and starting to see, wait a minute, the way they're talking about their reality isn't how their reality is, but rather it's how their own subconscious mind is programmed. So I started realizing people aren't telling stories about how things are, because there's infinite perspectives. If we think about one movie, someone going into a movie could have one experience where they walk out of it and they're like, oh, that was the greatest movie in the world. I'm inspired. I feel like I can take on the world with this. The person next to them could walk out and be triggered and be like, oh man, that movie was the worst. So I couldn't even watch it. The other person could be behind them and be like, I fell asleep. I was so bored, I fell asleep. That's Nikki, apparently.
That's Nikki.
Nikki just falling asleep.
Something happens when I watch movies. I just fall asleep every time.
See? Bella could be so inspired, ready to write her book. I could be ready to speak to the whole universe and never stop talking, and Nikki could be falling asleep. But it's the same movie. So I started
Yeah.
to see, I'm like, wait a minute. That this whole idea that we're not aware of what's in our subconscious is so disempowering and it's so inaccurate. It's just actually what's in our subconscious is hidden in plain sight. It's in the way that we're describing things. It's in the meanings we're giving things. It's in the way we're talking about our world and talking about what happened 5 minutes ago. It's in the way we're talking about what happened with our boss or partner or what happened in our business. It's in the way we're talking about these things that we see the meanings we're giving things. And therefore, we're seeing how our subconscious is programmed. So I
Mhm.
wanted to talk about what I mean by subconscious mind. It's really the lens to which we're seeing the world through. And it's that programming. Some of the words that we use for it is programming because it's really accurate. What we learn in our formative years about how love works, how money works, what we learn about what's possible for business, how creativity works. These things that we're learning in our formative years are being downloaded like a program that then goes into the subconscious and becomes the perception we're seeing the world through. So I wanted to share this to set the premise for what I'm about to say, because what I've seen in my work that is so beautiful, that could bring me to tears every single time I talk about it, is that whenever I'm guiding someone to create freedom or to find freedom from anything limiting them on a conscious or subconscious level, what happens is as soon as we dissolve away the limitation, so let's say someone has a limitation of feeling unworthy. They might not know they have that limitation, but through conversation, we go back and forth a little bit and we can see very clearly this person is seeing the world through a lens that they think that they are unworthy. So what happens is they have the job opportunities that match someone who's unworthy. They have the partner who treats them as someone who is unworthy. They have the experiences in life that reinforce this idea about themselves that they're unworthy. Now, this is matching what I was saying before. We're not necessarily aware of the unworthiness until we know how to see into it, right? And that's what I love doing. I love teaching people how to see into these things. But here's the thing. As soon as we dissolve away this idea that that person is unworthy, because of course they're not unworthy. They're a walking miracle. The same way we hold a little baby in our arms and we think that baby is a miracle, that's how every single one of us have been. Since day one, we've been literal walking miracles. So of course we're not unworthy. Of course we're worthy. Our worth is inherent. It cannot change. It does not change based on what we do or don't do. Our worth is inherent as beings. So we dissolve away the world of someone thinking they're unworthy. Any limitation that someone has, we dissolve it away. And what's on the other side is people say the same thing. Every single person says the same thing. You guys have heard it so many times from being in the mastermind, from doing this work with me personally. People say the same thing. I say, what world becomes available to you when you're free of this thinking that you're unworthy? They say the same thing, freedom, limitless potential, anything becomes available to me. I say, and how do you feel when you're free in that world? How do you feel now that you're free of this? They say, I feel this limitless potential inside of me, like I can do anything. They say, I feel lighter. I feel joy. I feel like I can love for the first time. I feel like I can see things totally differently. They're like colors are brighter. So the thing that I wanted to share with everyone is what I meant by the subconscious mind, but also this beautiful thing that I've seen now from working with thousands of people. If once we dissolve away the thing we think is limiting us, if we all say the same thing after, I'm limitless, I'm freedom,
Mm.
I'm joy, I'm love, if we're all saying the same thing, I've come to discover then that must mean something about who we really are. Because if once we dissolve away the lies in our psyche, we're all saying the same thing, we're free, we're limitless, I can do anything, I have this limitless potential inside of me. I feel like I can love for the first time. If we're all saying the same thing, that must mean something, right? So
Mm.
through this work and seeing it over and over, doing this work reinforces to me, like my human self, let's say I have a doubt in my life, get on a session with someone, do work like this, and I'm like, how could I ever doubt? How could I ever doubt about anything? Now, the beautiful thing about this work too, as you guys have experienced, it's pretty fast as well, right? Someone could be on a session, get off the session, and a client signs up while they're on the session doing an unworthiness to clearing an unworthiness.
That's happened to me. That's happened to me.
Oh yeah.
So
That's
go
the
ahead.
best.
I want to hear from you guys too. But this is what I would describe this beautiful experience that for anyone, no matter how long we've been limited or how much
Yeah.
we think we're limited, it's just a story. It's just a story that we have the power to transform. And that's the beautiful thing, because as soon as it dissolves away, we experience our limitless potential. Instead of needing to hear about it or getting motivated about it, we feel it. We feel it, and it's so beautiful. And that's what I love about it the most.
My goodness. Yeah, you're really tapping me into this is everything I've experienced on a personal level from both angles, right? From receiving support and giving support. And actually the third angle, witnessing others, right? All the way through, which is something that I know you've spoken about recently. I can't remember if this was in a conversation just the three of us or on a session with you, but how this tool, the subconscious, this whole world, understanding how we function, how it's one of the best ways to embody the spiritual teachings and truths and those higher perspectives of this reality. And I feel that so viscerally true, that it's like that gap that people perceive between how they're experiencing life right now and how the beautiful existential poems and the spiritual teachings report on reality, that they think that there's a difference and that you can't have both, and you can't live in a like a perception that one cannot experience life in alignment with those beautiful higher truths, like that we are held, that we are free, that we are love, that anything is possible. And speaking for myself, that has been one of the most profound pieces, is both those instantaneous shifts where the 3D reality literally shape shifts. One of my favorite experiences of this that continues to happen is in my relationship, my romantic partnership. The feeling of waking up the next day and literally being like, is this the same person? And realizing that there's that dynamic at play where I am creating my partner and also my partner is like responding to my inner world, and seeing that happen in that arena. I mean, not even to mention in business, which we'll get into later, of your mission and how that can affect instantaneous shifts. And at the same time, to be so grounded in an unfolding, in a trust of life. Because that energy then of that limit, that highest perspective of trusting the unfolding, of surrender, of it's all working out in divine timing, how then that allows you to live on this joyful linear time frame that feels like the movie of life, right? That like human feeling of the epic story with the 3 acts and what's going to happen next. That has been fully cemented into my default worldview and how I move about life because of these clearings, because of these beautiful windows into the limitations. And it's pretty epic to then take it further to say, what you're speaking to is just putting language to a system that's built into kind of like who we are, right? And I wanted to shout out your human design to say this is like such a great example of a 1-3 at work. Sarah's a generator 1-3. A 1-3 line is like, the name for it is the establisher of knowledge and truth. It's like the ultimate studious master of learning it and experimenting with it. So just like ultimate master of, a specific field. And to just see how by understanding ourselves and using this window into our true self, the whole game is revealed. Like the truth of reality is revealed. And it's funny because you could be afraid to go into your fears and your shadows, but how beautiful that, as the sayings go, it is through the fears, through the shadow that we see the light, that the gift is encoded. I mean, it just all folds in on itself. It's just profound. So yeah, I just wanted to speak to that personal testimony, honestly, of just how wildly transformative it has been. Like, we don't use the term life altering lightly, truly life altering, and that there is a literal direct window into that limitless nature, the spiritual nature of who we are. Like the saying people like to say, if we're, spiritual beings having a human experience, that is felt. You read it, you're like, yes, I literally feel that in my bones through this work.
It's so beautifully said. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Also, thank you for giving me insight into human design. I'm always ready. I'm like, okay, give it to me. Tell me all about my consciousness. I love it. So thank you for that as well. That was a gift as well. Yeah, this is a beautiful part of it. You know, there's one side that can make me cry every time, which is that point of like, we are all these limitless beings who have forgotten. And how beautiful to get to remember again, and what that's like to remember again. And this feeling of just like the things that we know consciously, we're limitless beings, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, like you're saying, how beautiful it is to then feel it so deeply.
Yeah.
And when the subconscious limitations dissolve away, we feel it. No one has to tell someone the spiritual information. I have people in the most like logical walks of life, leaders in finance, people who are developers, like computer technicians, like so logical, who come into this work and they're not really, they don't call themselves spiritual, but they do this subconscious freedom work, and then they walk out sounding like the most spiritual person in the world. They're like, I feel the oneness of all things. They're like, I just
Wow.
thought that was nonsense, but I feel it. There's no denying what I feel. So it's so beautiful to be able to do this and feel this on a regular basis. It's such a gift.
Mm. Could you speak more to, I kind of like to say, like, give us almost like the nuts and bolts of what it really means to be a limitless being? Like, for someone who is hearing that and is maybe feeling a bit of a gap between themselves and that concept, and even to just go as deep or scientific or however you want to describe it, of what that means to say that we are limitless.
Yeah. Okay. So how I feel like I want to talk about it is in a way like, what if we just all felt it together? You know, even as
Mm.
I'm talking about it, what if we just felt it? So if we consider whatever it is that's going on, maybe you two are listening, I'm the one speaking right now. So there's something that's observing that. So yeah, you're listening. You might be listening to the thoughts going on in your head as I'm talking, the questions happening. You might be listening to like how your body feels, and even just becoming aware of that for a moment, of what you're listening to, what you're hearing. I'm here with you. You know what I mean? I hear myself speaking. I'm listening to the thoughts going on in my head as I'm speaking and as I'm present with you. And even if for a moment you just allow in a deep breath to let any tension release in the body, you can do this even if you're moving. And now play into the world of becoming aware that you're aware of those thoughts. You're aware of how the body feels, of the thoughts playing. And as I'm speaking, play with looking from that awareness. If you're aware of those thoughts, if you're aware of the body, then that cannot be the true essence of who you really are. If you're watching it, then it's something that's changing, that's passing. And anything that's changing and passing cannot be who we really are. It's temporal. The thoughts that come in are like ripples on a pond. But the awareness is the place that's still. It's the entire pond, including the ripples, including the algae in the pond. It's all of it. The awareness is aware, and it's all of it. And there might be a ripple in the pond, like the same way that there's a thought that comes in. But that ripple is going to pass, just like the thought will. So as we become aware that we're aware, we start actually feeling that limitless potential. Even if we play into it for a moment, and it's like a little grasp of that awareness, we start to just explore it. Like, well, is there a name to that awareness? Is there a shape? Is there a size? Is there a color? And it's like, well, no, it's everything. It's nothing and everything. And as soon as we use words to describe it, they kind of fall short. So when I think about that limitless potential, I think about that limitless awareness that is before the I. It's that consciousness, that one consciousness that includes everything. It cannot be collapsed into an I as its whole self, but it can play into an I as a part of itself. So now we have this limitless potential that can be anything, is everywhere, is infused into everything. It's all of it. And then as soon as we say I, we confine that limitless potential into an I. And then as soon as we say I am, we're saying I am this I. We're confining it into a persona. Then as soon as we say anything after I am that, we will be what we define ourselves as. So this is where we take that limitless sea of quantum potential, infinite potential that exists. It's swimming all around us. And then we take that infinite potential with I and we say, okay, we're going to bring it into a persona of I. Then we take it into am and we say, okay, we're going to bring it into an animation of I am. And we take it into whatever we describe after that. And there we are. The experiences we have come after that. So if I were to say, can I describe our limitless nature? Probably not very well, but I can invite us to feel it and have us do the describing and us do the exploring, have us do the discovery into what it's like for us to tap into that. So what is it like for you to tap into that? What is it like for you when you feel that?
I personally have been feeling this at whole new levels. And I actually feel like it's a part of the fun of being a human is having increments of remembering that feel like a release. But the other day during our session, when we were doing that drop-in, I was experiencing this so viscerally in my body. The freedom. This has been a word that's been really activating for me. We as beings are so free. We are so free. And when I feel into that freedom, it is just the ultimate play. Like we come into this realm as these orbs of light that get to just experience the 3D, the material, and to play in this realm. And I've just been feeling into, there's like almost a sense of sadness that I've been releasing and a sense of grief of how it can sometimes feel to experience the illusion of not being free and the very real human pain that can cause someone living in that illusion. And for me, over the past few weeks, I've been experiencing these deep waves of remembering that have really amplified our inherent freedom for us. And I had a really beautiful breakthrough during one of your Becoming Her sessions with activating the abundance frequency. And then in the drop-in, and then during some meditations, moments of being outside, moments of Bella and I in our workflow, where I am just feeling, there really is it's hard to put words to it, but I love to use the analogy of a video game because for me, that just makes so much sense and it really helps it click. But if you were the player, your human self is the player, and who you truly are is the person that is controlling the game. The way that I experience this limitless nature is the remembering that I am not the avatar in the video game. I'm the one with the controller. I'm the awareness that is seeing it all. And we get to experience what it feels like to be the human through the limitations. And that's kind of the fun of this experience. And sometimes it can feel not so fun. But what I feel into is this like really beautiful visualization of this higher awareness that from my human mind exists up there. And what I was describing in our session the other day was like seeing it through a fishbowl, where my higher awareness was like looking through a fishbowl at this earth realm, but it could look anywhere and go anywhere and experience anything. And when we connect more with the truth of that, that is drawn into our 3D experience and we get to live through that awareness And I'm just in awe of what kind of unfolds from life in that way. Because for me, the reason why I speak so highly about this work and being on this path is that you get to literally experience heaven on earth. And this is something that Bella and I talk about all the time. How beautiful it is to remember our freedom and to share that frequency with others, where we are rendering heaven on earth and where we wake up feeling the gratitude and the alignment with the mission and our hearts and abundance. And then we're surrounded by beings that are also feeling into that. And we're all awakening something within each other with what we're contributing. It is heaven on earth. It's heaven on earth. Heaven is not out there. It is here. And it's accessed through this consciousness, the essence of who we are. I always lose there's no way to describe it. There's no way to describe it. I can try, just like how we are doing here, but it's miraculous, like truly miraculous. And I just am on such a deep mission of doing anything I can to help other people remember this power within themselves, because I think we all deserve to experience this. All of us. And we're all worthy and capable of this beyond. It's beyond. Yeah, that's what I experience it as.
It feels like literally what I was going to say, you teed it up so perfectly, is it feels like from that limitless, ineffable, indescribable place to then on purpose bring it into an experience of an I and an earth is where it begins, like where the fun begins, because I'm feeling this and I'm thinking, this is what gives you that life force energy, to that feeling of you want to go run and play and smell the flowers and build your dream life and run your mission-led business, your heart-led business. And I'm just now feeling as well this, like, the collective having this feeling, because we've really been in a healing era where it was mostly focused on this depth of remembering and kind of raising that foundation up, that baseline up a bit higher, of almost like how much time we spend mostly in the remembering energy. And now that that has been stabilized a bit, you realize, like, it's almost like, oh, new lease on life. Now it really begins. Now I really get to go play and create. And it makes you even more reverent to, I want to say, the joy of the perceived limited self in the 3D world, of how honoring you become of your, not just your human vessel, but like this whole experience, the weirdness of it, the trippiness of what it is to be a human, and the preciousness of the story and the arc that you're in, or the dip or the valley of the shadows. Like, all of that becomes precious because of that which, like, I can't even describe, right? But is so felt in how truly beautiful and miraculous this experience is. And what I love about the three of us being together right now is how everything we are saying now, there's no arena that this does not get applied to. Because we're not just saying this as like, fun, pretty, let's make like a story about it. Like, no, this is then how we do life in all arenas, how we run our business, how we engage in our partnerships, all of it. And that is where I really feel that energy of, and so it begins. Like, this is where we really play. And like Nikki said, bring heaven to earth. Remember heaven as earth, as this current moment. And this energy, we pour this energy into what we create, what we do, how we support people, how we relate, how we give Christmas gifts. Like, hello, this is
Everything.
just everything.
Everything. Today, you guys have heard this story in Becoming Her. I'm not going to tell that whole story, but like today, I had to wake up super early today. I live in Europe, so I had to wake up super early today and go do my visa process. It has been a trip. It has been a trip. You guys have heard some stories about this, to do the visa process. But today was like the final step. If I didn't complete this step, talk about the game. If I didn't complete this step, I would have had to move out of Europe, leave my partner here, and move out of Europe for 3 months. So if I didn't complete the final boss of this step, I would have been moving at the end of the week, right? So this is an important step, and I'm dealing with bureaucracy. You guys know what this is like in every country. Bureaucracy is bureaucracy, right? So I have to go to the papers, get the steps, deal with people who are leading bureaucracy. But am I going to go and be that and not be the I am limitless potential? Or who am I going to choose to be even in those processes? Like, that's like game on. Game on. Going into a room where there's all these people around, people are stressed, like, game on. Let's go. Let's see, who am I going to choose to be through it? So like, we're on this final step. I'm waiting to have my final appointment. They no longer take appointments past 11 a.m., right? So it's coming up to the final minute to get my appointment. If I didn't get it today, I would have had to leave. It's coming up to 11 a.m. and there are 5 people in front of me. And if it hits 11 a.m., they're not taking any more people. And what am I doing? Am I going to freak out? No, because we are living creators. We are morphing our reality fields. So I sit there. What I do, I said, there is a way. This is what I'm choosing, universe. I'm choosing to be here. I'm choosing to stay here. I know there's a way. Thank you. Thank you for everything that's happened up to this point. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I trust what's unfolding, and thank you. I know there's a way. I know there's a way for this to happen. All of a sudden, a line that was taking 2 hours to move. One person went up, guy said next one. One person went up, guy said next one. Now, it's 2 minutes after 11 when it took an hour to get to that one point. Now it's 2 minutes after 11, there's one person before me. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. The security guard comes up, sits in front of the line, and says, no more after this. And it's one person before me and me. Right before the next person stands up and we're all about to leave, the security guard leaves. The person stands up, sees before me, the person stands up, sees the security guard leave, and goes to walk up to talk to the guy and says, can I just ask you a question? So he's like pushing to get the guy's information. The guy's like, nope, no more people. And he's like, please, I just have one question. And I'm sitting there watching this unfold. I'm like, I know there's a way. I know God's working magic right now. I know it's happening. And so the guy answers the question, sits back down, answers that guy's question, looks at me, and I'm just sitting there looking at him, and he goes, okay, come on, one more.
Oh my God.
You have to be kidding me. I was like, thank you so much, sir. I couldn't even get the words out of my mouth. He was like, what do you need? And I'm like, at first I had to like ground myself because I was like, wait, what's happening?
Wow.
This guy helps us. There's so many issues with like what we were doing just because of the back end system, whatever. This guy starts going out of his way, sits with us for 50 minutes after the time. Get it done. And there's still an issue. There's still an issue. And he says, it's okay. We're going to figure this out for you somehow. But I've really got to go. Until I hear from this next person. So now I'm leaving and I'm like, so we're just leaving it up to this guy to email us if it works. Like, okay. So then we go to a different area of someone who helped us before just to update her about what happened. And she goes, you know what? Come in here and sit down. The 2 ladies who are sitting there who were nice, but you know, working in bureaucracy. Sorry, everyone. Bureaucracy. All of a sudden they start lightening up. And they asked us what happened. And I let him know, you know, this guy sat with us for 50 minutes. He's trying to get the papers through. It's still not working. I don't know. He said that this happened. And she's like, you know what? Let me try. And as she tries, I'm just like, thank you so much. I really appreciate you doing this, being so kind, like being so positive. And she goes, yeah, positive energy. You got to bring positive energy. She goes, everyone cross your fingers that this works. So now we
Oh,
have everyone in the room crossing their fingers saying positive energy, positive energy. And I'm playing. I'm like, yes, yes. Do I need to do this? No, but we're playing. We're playing the game. I respect her rules, right? We're playing the game. She clicks the button, it goes through. What? They're like, it's a
Wow.
Christmas miracle. Like, how did this happen? This happens 10 minutes before I come back here and have this conversation with you. Now,
wild.
I could have sat in that room and been down at the energy and been upset about being close to people. There's all stressed people around. There's baby crying. Like I could have. It could have been easy. But in every moment, we have choice points of who we're going to choose to be. And this reality field's a little messy. The earth realm is a
Mm.
little messy. It's like, it's kind of messy here right now.
Mm.
But what's so beautiful about what we do is that for the ones who are choosing to remember, we go out and we bring our frequency into everything we do. And in that moment that I looked at that woman after and I said, I'm so happy. You might see me cry. And she got emotional and she's like, thank you so much. And she is feeling happy because I'm happy. And that's magic. That's love. That's
Yeah.
like the love and gift of people helping one another, being there for one another. That guy who helped us, who could have been miserable to help us, he was so happy that we were grateful and just happy that he did this for us, that he felt good. He felt good for his extra time. So we think, like some people, it's easy to think like, what difference could I make? But now
Mm.
imagine that everyone in that building goes in and plays that game in that way. Now imagine that everyone in the supermarket goes in and plays that game that way. And what happens in our reality field? As we start seeing that this reality field, it's full of beings with divine potential who have forgotten.
Mm.
And because of that forgetting, there's a lot of suffering that comes with it. So we never know. We never know who's suffering. We never know who's worried that they're going to have to leave their partner. So they're sitting there and they're a little stressed and can't get the words out of their mouth. So he decides to be patient, you know what I mean, and ask me a few more questions.
Mhm.
Like we never know what someone's moving through, but we do know that everyone we see is a divine, limitless being. And when we can remember that and just see beyond that, it activates something in people. It changes something in people. People start showing up around us differently. So it's like I see in this space, like even for those of us who remember, it's so easy to think we have to go out into the world and then protect ourselves and keep our energy small and maybe not talk to people and maybe not, like people do all of these things, but it's like, wait a minute, let's go bring this love that we're cultivating and we are and go bring it into the world in the
Mm.
most micro mundane moments, because that's game on. How else do we
Yeah.
shift this world? Do you know what I mean?
100%. That is it. I'm recalling a story that I told on one of the first off records episodes we did this summer, Nikki, when I was going to Greece and it was like a passport miracle. I won't retell the story. It's really quick. I just like my passport was expired. One of those things, passport expired, couldn't do an international flight. I find out literally like 14 hours the night before the flight.
No way.
And I go through the most miraculous, my whole mindset and heart set going into it was like, this is all going to work out and it's all good. And I'm going to bring the energy, all the things. Same thing, going to like a government building, all the things that could potentially go wrong. And I was like, no, this is going to work out fine. I was blown away at how fast I had to get a new passport printed and all this paperwork, all the things. And it was literally, my family was in awe. I was sending them texts reporting how it was going because we were meeting them in Greece for this beautiful 2-week dream sailing trip. And I literally got this passport printed in like 20 minutes. It was literal record timing. I was in awe, but the whole time I was like, we're good, all good, bringing like just so much trust in the lines, same exact energy. And I just remember being like, this is it. It's bringing this energy of trust, of love everywhere you go. And that's where it really freaking matters and where you see it in the 3D. Like this is, like you're saying, the game on.
Mhm.
Like there is no untouched arena.
And it's what moves the systems. You know, it's so
Yes.
easy to look in systems. You know, my partner worked in like advanced projects and government systems. So when he started seeing me move things in visa processes and things change quickly, like Bella, your story, he would love that because it's so easy to think something like that takes forever to change. And this is what people
No.
do with our world. They look at what it is and they're like, how would it ever change? It would take so long. It would take forever. And maybe there's some accuracy to things happening slower, but it doesn't have to. Because the very frequency of love, it moves mountains. The very frequency of I trust, it's gonna work out, it's all working out for me. Like Bella walked in, that's unheard of. To get a passport that day, it's amazing, but it's not unheard of for all of us.
Yeah.
For every single one of us listening to this, it's not unheard of for any of us. Because when we are in the frequency, systems will move for us. Things just happen. And there's no way to describe it. There's no way to describe it other than it was just easy. And then what some people can chalk it up to is like, oh, because you're lucky. Look, we cultivated this. We create so many limitations.
Luck
to
is
walk with this
created.
energy. Yeah.
It's created.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's magic though, and we
Wow.
all have that. And this is how we shift this world. This is how we shift this world. By deciding business doesn't have to be how people say it is. It gets to be in alignment with our heart and spirit, and it gets to work. Systems don't have to be just how they are. They get to shift when pure hearts go and go be a part of the system or go lead the system, and they choose to lead it from the purity of love, from the purity of infinite potential. It changes things.
I feel like you're speaking to something so important when it comes to business in this new paradigm, beings that have a mission on their heart. It is the ability to hold the vision of the highest timeline and to draw that energy into your now. And something that I see as it's like a really beautiful transformation that we're all moving through is we have these beautiful higher perspectives, this understanding, right? Like even the beautiful beings that are listening to this episode and they're like, yes, yes, yes. But when it comes to my business, this is where I'm experiencing this, this, and this, and I have no money, and this is the challenge. I would love for us to really pour this energy and this awareness now into what we can make of our business. And I know this is something you speak of too, is like our business is where we can really master spirituality at a whole new level. And it's where we get to really draw the highest reality field to us and us to that. Drop me into what you see. I want to start here. Drop me into what you see as some of the most common limitations that a being will hold that will cause them to experience their business, but also like the rendering of their highest timeline as something that feels difficult and challenging.
Okay, great question. So when it comes down to the fundamentals, like business gets to be what we make it. The same way going into the bureaucracy office gets to be what we make it. Like it's all good being, like I like that you use the word rendering. It's rendering from our own perspective. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change, the things we see change, things start morphing around us, and that gets to be business too. Now, the beautiful thing about business is that it's an ultimate JoJo because there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of perceived pressure. There's a lot of illusion of pressure when it comes to business because now we're talking about the perceived sense of safety, the perceived sense of worth, the perceived sense of value, the perceived sense of what other people say is needed to make something work. This is the biggest thing I support, leaders in the space who come to me for mentorship is realizing that they don't have to do things the way other people say. Because a lot of people start building a business, maybe they make great money, and then they're like, wait a minute, I'm not happy in what I'm doing. So the money that they made didn't matter. And then they're like, but I guess I don't do what I'm doing anymore. And I'm like, no, just don't do it that way. You like what you're doing, just don't do it that way. You know what I mean? Like you get to make it up just because someone said that's how it had to be. That person made it up. So the beautiful thing about business is that it's etched with the same code that we have in the very fabric of our being, which is that there's infinite potential, and it all gets to work. But what really works is what's in alignment with our heart and with our spirit. Because when we're in alignment with our soul mission, what we came to do, when we're in alignment with what truly brings this joy of our spirit alive, things just start moving in business, they start working. But like you said, there's common limitations that make us think it's not. It's like you said, it's very easy to then go into business and be like, okay, I know we're infinite spiritual beings. I have these spiritual concepts. I believe in them. I know them. But then what about business over here? And it's like, one, we want to dissolve away the idea that it's over there, it's separate, business is an ultimate spiritual dojo. It's the ultimate workshop where we get to take our spiritual concepts that we know to be true and put them into play. We're tapping into the creative muse with spirituality. We're tapping into faith, to trust, to service. It's so beautiful. So I would say that two of the biggest subconscious limitations are going to be around, and these are deeper than limitations. I would say these are identities. So subconscious limitations, for everyone listening, what I would call those are more stories. Like making money is hard would be a subconscious limitation. That's a story. Identities are deeper. That's like who we declare ourselves as. That is, I am that, and everything will be experienced through this perception of who we perceive we are. So some of the biggest subconscious identities that are associated with blocks in business is safety. So someone thinking, I am not safe, and how that would show up is with a subconscious story of, I'm not going to be okay. So they actually run their business in a way of, I'm afraid of not being okay. They're afraid of not being okay. So they need to do all of these things in business to try to make sure that they're going to be okay. And that's where burnout comes in, right? Because they think that it's never enough. And it's not never enough because that's how business works, but it's rather never enough because they have a subconscious story that they're not going to be okay and an identity that they're not safe. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
So then the other one is a worthiness one, where someone thinks that they're not worthy. And this is big because of society. Think of our society is, they say, you're worthy once you get the money. Think about the words net worth. That is subconsciously programming people's worthiness into their bank account, into the amount of money they have. Think about the words financial freedom. That's programming the safety of someone perceived safety and freedom into finances. Our freedom does not lie in our finances. Our freedom's inherent. We are inherently free beings. Our worth doesn't lie in our money, in our finances, what we do, what we don't do. We're inherently worthy beings. And our worth, especially, this is for men, worth is often more performative, like doing a really good job, like being worthy of the love of the Divine Mother, essentially, if we're talking spiritually, but being worthy of accolades, being worthy by doing a good job, performative. Women, it can often be in like the more mainstream based on looks, which is why we see a lot of women get plastic surgery, things like this. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that it can be associated with this underlying subconscious identity of feeling unworthy and thinking that looks will make them worthy. For business owners, for entrepreneurs, it's a little different. The worthiness can get tied up to, and the safety also gets tied up to, this world of accolades, this world of, what word am I trying to say? Validation, external validation, likes, followers, views, and it's very easy. The platforms are designed to reinforce that, so it's quite tempting to go into that route. I've done it many times, going into that route and being like, wait a minute, I don't feel in alignment. Let me come back to center, not about that. Let me come back home to what it's about. So it's very easy. I'm not judging it. It's very easy that it's there. It's very easy to tap into because it's so prominent. So to summarize those things, with business, it's more tied up with self-worth, safety. I would say these are two of the biggest ones. Then there's all the subconscious stories. Like if someone thinks they have to work hard to make money, that working hard means they're worthy. So then someone doesn't actually rest because their mind is always thinking of the next thing they need to do for business. So they don't ever actually get to relax, not because they can't relax, but because they think they need to do all of these things to finally be worthy of relaxing. So this is where the subconscious identities and stories, is this making sense? Am I describing this in a way that's landing? So this is where the subconscious identities and stories start seeping out into business. And then people do interesting things because then the ideas they have are capped because they think, wait a minute, I've seen people do this. They're making a certain amount of money every month. And then they say, well, I don't want to make more because I don't have the capacity to do more. And I'm like, who says that you making more has anything to do with how much you're doing? So this is where the subconscious limitations seep into the very ideas we have, the very goals we have. Like that person wasn't going to ever declare that they wanted to make more because they thought it meant doing more. They thought it meant not spending time with their family. And we're like, wait a minute, those things don't have to be subconsciously associated. You can make more by doing more.
Yes.
That can be true. So it's really beautiful when we see this because once we dissolve it away, business becomes a different game. We start to see that it's more of an art. We start to see that it's more of the opportunity, and especially soul-led beings like us and everyone listening, like it starts to be this beautiful expression of our mission in form. It's like we've come here with this mission, even if we don't fully understand it. I'm talking to a lot of people who are there. They're like, I know I have a mission, but I don't know what it looks like. I'm like, none of us do. None of us do. We just take each step forward. And the beautiful game and like the mystery of the mission is that like once the step is down, then we get the information about the next step. You know, like it's like, but we don't even know where we're stepping until we put the foot down. And then the universe is like, okay, success, here you go. This is the mission. This is what you're doing. This is how you're serving. So I want to share that with people who are like, I feel like I have a mission. I'm not clear on like exactly what it is. It's like, it's okay. That's a part of the game. Right? But when we know in our hearts we're here for a reason, we want to make a difference. There's something that matters so deeply to us. When we start playing the game of being able to know how to create freedom on a subconscious level, we start playing a different game because now the business becomes the mission and it's in form. It's like the mission, the same way that someone creates an art piece on a canvas and they're like, this is art. This is my work of art. You know, now with business, the mission comes into form through the experience that someone has in our business. It's such a beautiful experience. When the limitations are dissolved away, it's a play. But it's not to say we don't ever have limitations. I work through limitations all the time. You know what I mean? Because with every new level we reach, there's new subconscious limitations that are like, oh, but what about this world that you were once in and these ideas you once had? So it's an ongoing process. But once we have the tools, it's a totally different game.
Something you said just really became highlighted in my mind here, which is what beings allow themselves to desire and to believe is possible, right? And how that can be capped by identities, limitations, etc. And that there's this idea that, like you're saying, in order to have, it's just a story, right? To have a big impact, to create X result, you have to blank. Immediate constricted rule of, okay, well, then as a being, why would I'm not going to want that because then that seems tough, or I don't think I'm capable of X, right? And again, with this idea of, I always visualize this like level set, this like, whoop, okay, now we're like back to seeing things clearly. We're back in the seat of our soul. Soul is driving. This is why it becomes really natural to, in like a 3D term, desire more. This is something I've experienced so much, where we're not seeking more because we think it's going to give us that final, oh, thank God, now I'm okay. But because of that revelation and remembering of the limitless nature, of the wholeness, of the worthiness, of the indescribable things we were talking about earlier, then you're realizing you can start to actively write the story that you want to then see play out on your screen of life. And you can be someone who operates more from gentleness and being a bit more slow and being really restful and not working that many hours. And that can be equated to a huge impact, a huge goal, whatever it is that you desire. And I feel this coming online so much for the collective and for our community because of the other massive pillar we talk about, which is that individual self, the individuation, who you really are, and knowing that that is the blueprint and the strategy for your vision, your mission, what you desire. And how beautiful it is to I always feel this like another degree of the reclamation of power and of co-creation and getting to choose how you want to experience it. And just kind of funny making that connection between that old paradigm view that to have, a huge ripple effect on earth and make a big impact, it has to be loud and splashy. And the only way to do it is through fame and celebrity. And right. It's like, no, that's just one blueprint that we've been modeled. And to me, to have all types of beings, like every unique being, the ones that are more of like the garden fairy archetype, and then the ones who are like the loud on stage performers, to have all those beings, all of us see that we can create impact and a ripple and also be nourished and cared for and enjoy our life and have resources and these amplifiers like money, right? That I think is coming alive so clearly. And this is why the artists are waking up. This is why artists and creator beings, especially because they can be a category that in the old paradigm was really convinced that we couldn't, be well off or make impact by choosing art. How many artists were told to go pick a real job? And now we're waking up and realizing we get to make those rules. And yeah, I love this thread that we're now on of how, as a mission-led being, this, tool of subconscious healing and really seeing into your subconscious is so integral. And Nikki, I'd love to know what you have coming through of where to dive into from this point of, I feel like we're looking into a huge pool here of what we've all experienced with having this approach to business and how people listening can really start to see what's possible through this lens.
Yeah, I want to dive into somewhere first. I feel like a lot of people come into this world of personal development and spirituality and healing, and it's very easy to think that you're doing subconscious work when really it's kind of keeping you at mindset work. I would love to give the listeners a little bit of a moment to differentiate the two and to see where they can maybe step more into the subconscious world. What do you see as the difference in that mindset work versus subconscious work?
That's a great question. So in terms of the high level mindset work, this is where we're starting to listen to the stories our mind is telling, which is accessing subconscious work to some degree. So it is subconscious work to some degree, because when you're doing affirmations, you are starting to reprogram your subconscious mind. It's effective, but it's only effective to the degree that our deepest identities, like we talked about before, the I am that, like whatever we're defining ourselves as, affirmations will only work so far that they match that underlying identity. So it's at the core of it, we want to start to explore who we actually perceive ourselves as. And this is where we start to explore some things, some patterns that have been going on in our lives. So let's say someone feels very stressed at work, and they feel like they're constantly vigilant when they're working. Like they're constantly vigilant. They notice they're a vigilant person. They're constantly vigilant at work. And then they're like, okay, I must have a subconscious limitation at work. And then they go home and they realize that they're vigilant with their partner. And they're actually pretty vigilant, but they didn't know they were vigilant with their partner until they realized they were vigilant at work. This is someone starting to become aware of a deeper subconscious identity. When something's a subconscious identity, it's impacting all the areas of our lives. And sometimes we don't even see how much it's impacting us until we see the identity. So the subconscious identity goes deeper than mindset work, because we're not just thinking positive is powerful. You'll change your life by thinking positive. You'll change your life with mindset work. Identity work is going to shift a paradigm. It's going to shift a whole timeline. And I don't want to compare them, but it's tough to talk about them without comparing them, because they're both necessary. They're both important. It's just when we're talking about this deeper subconscious work that you're asking me to, define the difference of, the deeper subconscious work is the very identity we're walking the world through. So that identity touches everything: how we feel, how we talk, how we walk, how we carry ourselves. It'll impact what's going on in our jobs, in our relationships, in our finances, in our health. Right? I've worked with people where they're so ready for freedom. We had this one woman, Vivian. It was so beautiful, the mastermind, the last round. There's one woman, Vivian. I could tell she was ready for freedom. I think she's in her 70s or early 80s. I could tell she's so ready. And I didn't know this, but she was walking with a cane for months because she had an autoimmune disease that was impacting her life for months. I didn't know this before the session. We got on the session and we transformed 3 identities. I'm not safe, I'm not love, and I'm not worthy. Those three identities, very similar to some of the identities we talked about before. We showed her, no matter what happened in her formative years, she grew up in the projects. She grew up seeing people pass before her eyes. So she grew up in an environment that she really didn't think she was safe. When we dissolved those three identities, not only did she say, I'm finally free after feeling like I didn't know if I could ever get here, she said she wasn't even going to raise her hand in the mastermind because she didn't have that much hope that it could ever change, And
Wow.
she raised her hand and said, I am free. And she said, she reached out to us about 3 weeks later. She said, one, she reaches out to us right away and said, I feel better than ever before. I'm calmer with my husband. I feel like she was like, I was sitting in the kitchen the other day and she was like, what do I feel right now? What's going on? And she's like, oh, I'm at peace. She's like, I'm actually at peace. She's like, I'm not worried about anything. She's like, I could just be with my husband. I can enjoy my life. Then a few weeks later, she reaches out to us and we have this on a recording in one of the programs. So a lot of people got to see it. It was really beautiful. But she said, Sarah, I didn't tell you this, but before the session, I was walking with a cane. Right after the session and ever since, I haven't needed a cane because I don't have a limp anymore.
Wow.
These subconscious identities impact our bodies. They impact our relationships. They impact the quality of our lives because who we perceive we are is touching everything. That's what's creating our reality field. The perception we hold about who we perceive we are, the I am that, right? So when we're talking about subconscious identities, like deeper subconscious work, that surface level is like mindset work, affirmations, starting to change the way we see the world. That's going to change our lives. It's going to change a lot. If someone goes from making money is hard to, wait a minute, no, it's not. Making money is easy. It comes in expected and unexpected ways. If someone thinks money doesn't grow on trees, and then we're like, actually, money does grow on trees, and it's actually made up, and everyone's printing more of it. So you might as well realize that it's easy to make. You know what I mean? Plenty of people, money is easy to make. It's a decision. So that can change someone's life. Shift the identity, and it would shift the timeline. That being, that soul is no longer confined to those same soul lessons because they've learned it.
Mhm.
When we're doing identity work, we're working on a soul level with soul lessons, things that souls have incarnated here with important lessons that they wanted to learn, things they wanted to discover. So when we're working with subconscious identities, we're working on a soul level with those soul lessons, which is really beautiful, which is, I can't promise this, like we've got to all come to our own truth. And I always invite people to explore and come to their own truths. But I would go so far to say that once, when souls come here, they have these lessons. When we're doing subconscious identity work, we're revealing the lesson, creating freedom. So the soul no longer has to be in that karmic loop over and over and over with the same lesson, which is really special to see the freedom that comes with that is profound. So that's subconscious identity work. That's how I would make that distinction.
Yeah. I want to highlight something that is a requirement of this work that you're speaking to, which also I'm feeling into can really differentiate someone from working with just mindset work versus subconscious work, which we've been talking about through this entire episode, but I want to highlight it. There is a radical responsibility that we get to take over what is being rendered before us. And not in a self blame way, but in a what is this teaching me? What is this showing me about myself kind of way?
Mm.
With subconscious work, you really cut past all of the ways that the mind can validate why something is the way that it is. And you're going straight to the code of how this is showing up in your reality field and what it is showing you about your own programming. So when a challenge arises in your life, this is something that Bella and I are spreading the message of with everything that we create, all of the spaces that we create. Your challenges are portals to evolution. They are portals to inner expansion and to remembering. Because what this work provides you is a template to seeing how, when something is rendered in your reality field, or when something is feeling a certain way with a relationship or with your business, it is showing you something about the inner programming. And what I love about doing this work is like you can hear someone talk about the whole story and what's going on in their life, but what you're really looking for, and I really see this with your sessions and also the way that I run sessions, is like feeling into the story and how someone is describing the experience, like what you were showcasing at the beginning of the episode. But as the being that is doing the work, you have to be willing to look at everything in your life as something that is a gift and it's showing you something. And I feel like that's another pillar of this work versus the mindset work. You're like, okay, how can I like change the way that I see this thing? And then subconscious work is like, no, how can I see that I'm actually creating this thing? And then ultimately that will just change the way that it shows up in my reality field. And this is why I feel like this work is just a life hack, but there is a requirement. There is like almost like the price you pay is the radical responsibility. So I would love for you to speak to a little bit about that, because it is kind of the initiation into this work. If someone is like, I am freaking sold, I want to really dive into this subconscious work, whether it's on their own, whether it's in one of your containers inside of the portal, can you speak to that shift of like taking radical responsibility and what that really is asking of us?
Yeah. And oh my gosh, I love your analogy that you gave too. Like, so good. So good. I love hearing what
What
comes through
was
both
it?
of you.
I don't even
When you
remember
were
what I said.
you were talking about the difference very simply,
Oh,
just like the
oh, oh.
subconscious identity and subconscious like stories. But when 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 we talk about radical responsibility, I think this is one of my favorite things, because a lot of people think about radical responsibility within the subconscious lens of blame and fault. So
Yeah.
why people have a hard time with responsibility, they immediately, if they're in the subconscious frequency of blame and fault, they'll be like, oh, so you're telling me that everything that happened in my life is my fault? It's like, no, of course not. Of course not. That would be a very cruel thing to say for a lot of the trauma that has happened and with a lot of humans on this planet, right? So it's not about being at fault, but rather, once we become aware, once we take responsibility, we get to shift it. But we cannot shift something that we're not responsible for. Think about the energy of it, right? As soon as we
Mm.
say, I am this way because of the government, what happens with that finger is we're pointing out and sending our life force energy over to the thing we're saying is responsible for how we are. So if someone says, I am this way because of my mom or my dad, we are pointing the finger out and blaming mom and dad. And then if we are blaming and our power is going out, where's our power then? It's not within us. So whatever we are blaming, we are a victim to. And if we are a victim to something, we cannot change it. We will be staying in that loop. So a lot of people think, well, if responsibility means blame, and it's like, no, this is actually the freedom from blame. Because responsibility means, hey, it's no one's fault here. However, I'm awake now. I'm aware now. And I know that if I'm awake and I'm aware, now I have the power to change it. If I take responsibility for my part in it, my co-creation in it, what I have going on energetically that's contributing to this circumstance, if I take responsibility for that part and shift that, then I have the power to change it. This is where we start walking in a different level of our reality field. So what a lot of people think is like, I don't want to take responsibility because it's easier for it to be someone else's fault. You know, if I just blame mom and dad, then it's like, oh, I can't change. This is the way I am, you know, or it's easy for someone to say like, no one on here would, but it's easy for someone to say like, I am the way I am. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean? It's like, no, 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 no. Or they're like, someone might say, you don't know what's happened in my life. Like that woman, Vivian, she could have said that. I'm saying her name because she's given me permission. But Vivian could have said to the world, you guys don't understand. You don't know what it was like growing up 80 years ago. You don't know what it was like growing up in the projects. She could have easily taken that stance. But if she blamed the projects, if she blamed her past, she would never be in that moment in this life now where she said, I am truly free. So
Mm.
as soon as we take responsibility for something, what we're actually taking responsibility for is our power to change it. It's not that it was our fault, but rather we can't be held responsible for that which we're unaware of. However, we can be the remarkable, powerful co-creator beings who say, I wasn't aware before, so we're forgiven immediately. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. I wasn't aware before. It's okay. This is how this earth field is. You're automatically forgiven. It's all right. But now that I'm aware, I have the power to change it. So self-responsibility equates to us taking our power back, remembering our power, and now giving ourselves the power to actually change something, which is really beautiful. I'm curious what you guys think about that too, because I think hearing it a couple different ways would be really helpful.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually immediately just thinking of how I've come to embody this through healing experiences I've had, creating freedom from limitation stories I picked up from experiences in high school that were, hard, traumatizing, difficult to go through, but that through the mechanics of this work, being able to literally look back at those things that I once didn't even want to think about and being grateful for them, truly grateful, like looking back and saying, thank you, reality field, for rendering that, albeit difficult. Thank you, because of, how you see that life unfolds in this way that's always serving you. And that to me is accessed through, it's like another word for responsibility is, I think you could describe it as, it's when you step into the space of allowance and acceptance, and kind of in like the Gene Keys world, the whole core essence of transformation comes from this allow, accept, embrace dynamic. And it's like with every one of that, you get a little bit more softened and surrendered to be able to just let the circumstance be what it is for now, right? How you say it is what it is for now. And it's seeing the chess pieces on the board, seeing, if I use like the alchemy example, seeing the base metals that are there and allow, okay, accept that they're there. And then that next step to embrace is to say, okay, what is really here? And when I say what's here in my head, I'm seeing a visual of loosening up from the 3D circumstance and seeing things as energetic, as soul, karma, what is represented through that human experience. And when I think back to like a high school example, would be seeing an experience that on the 3D would be described as one thing, and a layer deeper is, okay, what was me, Bella, that human being, and the soul learning here through meaning making, through symbols, through then what I was put myself into as a physical experience. And that then shifts and loosens up the whole thing to expose the light that's actually in it. And the real just core, almost like soul data information you're getting from life. And that is actually housing the gift of the higher perspective. And I think obviously we don't always have to access a higher perspective through an experience of hardship or whatever that might be, but there is a beauty to embracing that base experience at the 3D level and then looking at it through the lens of how would the soul interpret this, and to go even further for in my experience of what I would say when I would look back and reflect and shift the timeline right through my heart, through the eyes of my heart, to say, oh, wow, this happened so that Bella could learn this. So then she could go live with this limitation. Beautiful, because it got me to where I am, because I'm here. I'm always okay. I'm always safe. And now in this present moment, connecting back to her, thank you, because now I am accessing this level of freedom because of that 3D thing I experienced, which really was just energetic and held meaning-making opportunity for me. So that's how I would personally relate to these things, especially just from real experience of transformation, especially in arenas that I could have said for a time, and probably even did say, oh, this is because this person's like this, or this happened to me, or my partner's always like this. And to put a break on that, a pause and a little bit of space between it, that's your window open to see, I think, the light in all things. And I think it's like that's responsibility coded in a bit of more like, yeah, almost like on an energetic quantum level, what we're really doing.
I love that. It's like what I'm hearing too is like responsibility comes with thank you. Like
Mm-hmm.
getting to actually say thank you for moments that we might have been ashamed of or might have been embarrassed about or might have held like a lot of weight for us,
Yeah.
energetic weight for
Yeah.
us for carrying for so long, that all of a sudden, like through what you're saying, now we're saying, wow, thank you. You helped me become who
Mm-hmm.
I am today. You helped me teach me something that I'll never ever be the same because I've learned that. So thank you. You help me remember who
Yeah.
I really am. You help me take me on this path, so responsibility gets to come with thank you. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful, so beautifully said. I love that. Love that interpretation on it.
I think about like how rigged in our favor this game is when we're
Mm.
tapping into this, because I'm just thinking about like the realization you were having when you were younger, diving into this work of like, there's no way we can't see our limitations. There's no way. And you feel into how rigged this game is in our favor. Of course, it's going to showcase all of our limitations through experience, through our relationships, through feeling. That is how rigged this game is. Like the coder of this game knew what the fuck was up because holy crap, the gift of being able to have a clear representation of the code that we want to shift, of the way of being that we want to clear up, of the freedom we want to access, it's all through those mirrored experiences. And I feel like a part of this human journey is really feeling into what you both are so beautifully tapping us into is the gratitude for the experiences that were mirroring to us where we are yet to be free.
Mhm.
And if you're thinking about this with the video game analogy, the more we point the finger outward, you're literally giving coding access to your reality field to other people. And that's not necessarily bad. Sometimes it's great to be like inspired through that lens. Like we all will pick up codes from other people. Like even listening to this episode, we're picking up codes. We're feeling what resonates with us. Ooh, yes, I want to build my world with this rule, with this. But when we point the finger outward, what I'm seeing almost on like the video game analogy level is that you are this coder of the game that is rendering your reality field. But with the pointing of the finger, you're saying, okay, no, I assign you to render my reality field based off of the way you're perceiving me. And you sit back and you let them kind of play out their own energy, and then you interact with that energy. And that can be fun until it's not. And then I think we really start to claim back our ability to code our reality field through this radical responsibility. And it is a very fun part of the game, but it also is, I can sense that there's some areas where you can be like, okay, yeah, this is so easy. And then I can even think about areas in my life where there's still lessons that I'm learning. There's still limitations that are in place with like family dynamics that seem to have a bit of density with them still. So I just want to give all of you guys permission to also let it be a journey and like to let yourself have this fun experience of almost like the illusion of the limitation and the illusion of something out there happening to you. And then you have the joy of the remembering, of the realization, and the beauty of being like, oh, yeah. But it's okay if there's some things that still feel a bit sticky, if there's things that still feel a bit dense, because we all have them. I love how you always say, like, we wouldn't be here if we didn't have limitations. We'd be floating up into the, walking through walls. And a part of the journey is to be the limited self, to be the 3D self.
Yeah, you two will probably know whenever I access that bilocation state and those ascended levels of consciousness, I'll probably come visit you two first. You guys will be the only ones that know. But same for me too. When you guys access that, I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know. You best be teaching me when you access that. You get there first. Okay, so it's such a joy. Like that's where like Bella was touching on this before too, and I love that she was, and you're touching on this so beautifully that it becomes precious. Like
Yeah.
there's just precious journey of being human. And what I find is that, in my life, I was always really hard on myself, like really, really hard on myself in the past versions of me were. And what I found to be so beautiful is the freedom that comes with this work is just natural compassion comes alive. So it's
Mm.
like, you're so precious, you're doing your best. Like, it's okay. We're learning. It's okay. We're gonna do great. Like a new level of just this precious energy for wherever we are comes through, you know,
Mm.
which is just so special and it's so freeing because when we're really on this path and we see the mirror of this reality field and we see the opportunity to be in this gift of life for like a blink of an eye. Really, like it's a blink of an eye for an eternal soul, like an eternal being, a blink of an eye. So like when we really sit with that and see that, it's like, oh my gosh, how precious it is to be in this human experience where we perceive limitation, where we can actually believe in it. And like, what a game to see how we get through it. And to see like, and like getting through it too in Earth is so special because we get through it together. You know what I mean? It's
Mm.
like, what a game to see how we get through it. And like, what a gift to be able to meet the people who we get through it with, the people who drop the codes in for us. It's like they're not responsible for our reality, but they support us to get through the game differently. They give us what we need. They equip us with the tool to get through to the next level that we needed. They give us the key that allows us to finally open the door to the next timeline, to the next level of the reality. And like, that's the beautiful part. So it's such a precious journey. It's such a precious experience, but it's also a wild one. We're in a reality field that's going through an ascension of consciousness right now. Big shifts are happening. So it's also a
Mhm.
wild one. So we want to be so compassionate and gracious with ourselves. But what I find to be a life hack is to surround myself with people like both of you. Surround myself with people like every single time I go into a mastermind call and I'm supporting these people and I'm teaching with them, I'm hearing stories of limitless potential every single week. And I'm like, what? Like this is the new earth. This is living it. Every single time we get on that Wednesday session on the portal, we're gonna have incredible creative leaders who are here on a mission, who are defying the odds. Even if they don't know that they're defying the odds yet, we're gonna see it every single week, every single Wednesday session on the
Mhm.
portal. And then life starts getting to be this game of like limitless possibility over here, over here, over here, so that like our current limitations become so precious, you
Mm.
know? And the
Yeah.
more I've mentored people, the more I even gotten to see that for myself in new levels. Because if I'm mentoring someone who might be a few steps behind me or whatever the case, there's no above and behind, but in the linear form of the game, there could be. It's like I've gone a few steps on that path. I'll give you some codes of how I've done it in a
Mhm.
way that feels in alignment for me. And you get to explore your way. But what I've seen is that it actually also gave me the permission, doing this more and more, to also meet myself with that. So it's like, okay,
Mm.
this is where my human is. This is the game. Let's see how it unfolds. And it's not always that easy, but it does get easier and easier. It
Yeah.
does. It's like, how people say, like, it's not all love and light, but you know what? My life is full of more ease and love and light that's ever been there. And I feel like I'm gonna get like his backlash for saying that because so many people are like, but it's not all love and light. And I'm like, I get it, but it does get a lot easier. And I feel
Yeah.
like even though there are challenges, it's so much easier to move through challenges now than it was, before I was doing this work. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, totally.
So
Totally.
so I feel like that's, like, a beauty of it too, I feel like so many people downplay that, like, we're all human, and we are, and it's precious, and we're all learning, and we're all growing, but I feel like people almost, like, try and downplay it because 'cause they're afraid of what I just expressed a little bit of fear of, people say, "They're saying it's all love and light, and it gets to be easy," but it's like, but it does get to be easier,
Yeah.
and suffering
Yeah.
does dissolve away more and more and more, and it does get to be a lot easier, you know?
Yeah. Mhm. Totally. I totally agree. It gets lighter. I feel like it just gets bouncier, maybe is like a good bridge to like allow for the up and down sensation, but bouncy is a little less stuck in each one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Mm.
What are your favorite practices for manifestation?
Playing, dancing, playing and dancing. Like, I feel like one, like movement and dancing and music is just like we open portals and timelines and like when we're starting to tap into new frequencies of music. Like that, I remember
Yeah.
5 years ago, 7 years ago, it was pretty tough to source music that like brought the spirit alive. I still listen to a
Yeah.
lot of classical music because of that, but like today, there's more and more music that is like, oh, these DJs, these people are tapping into codes. They're opening up
Mm,
potential. So I feel like music is such a key for me personally. Play, and listening. I feel like
mm,
listening is more and more because lately more and more like I feel like I'm manifesting some things, but I'm more like what do you want of me? Like what how
mm,
can I best serve? I feel like that's my question more and more. Like just show me where you want me to go, show me who to serve,
mm.
show me what to talk about. I feel like I'm interested in learning how to receive more and more and more than I am like, hey, let's create this. But I do both. I'm
Mm.
not going to say that I don't
Yeah.
create. I love creating. We're co-creative beings. But I think that when I think about my favorite manifestation practice, it's playing. Like moving my body, listening to music that uplifts the spirit and being like, okay, like what are we playing into the creation? Imagine how good that can get. Like, what if this happened? And then what if this happened? And then what if this happened? I feel like that energy is some of my favorite energy. And then if I'm on the other side of it, which I'm on both, it's like I want to sit and I want to listen and I want to receive. Like I want to go lay in
Yeah.
nature, be present and listen to the subtle cues, like listen to the whispers of my spirit and my heart and receive the mission, receive the next piece
Mm,
of the mission when it's coming through. How about you guys?
yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, the way you just described that is really perking me up and inspiring me because it's, I think, essentially calling it a co-creative approach to manifestation where it's not just, it's not just me pulling ideas out of nowhere and efforting it into existence. It's actually seeing the self as this full on, constantly moving vessel that as we get more and more tuned in to our inner authority, our intuition, how we receive guidance, the practices that drop us into that state of being connected, where you know that you are hearing and seeing and sensing guidance that is not just from this local time and space. That is, I actually am really feeling into that as something we really anchor into in the portal, and something that upon reflection is like how I feel we've had the best experiences in our business and in creation is the things that are received and then are devoted to.
Mhm.
Like we talk about this idea of, ideas being entities, and that there's all of these potentials swimming around, and your vessel is meant to match up with certain ones. And the way you match up with more and more of the ones that are meant for you, which means the ones that will become more effortless or joyful to bring into form, that is ultimate co-creation. And doing that through our unique intuition, how we are meant to tune in, and even just viewing business, for example, as an opportunity to be connected to source. That's, to me, like new paradigm business, almost like connecting it to that is, it's not just using force and action to make stuff for the sake of it. It's realizing, oh, this is my phone line to the divine and to what the universe wants me to create on this planet. Oh, wow, I truly am a channel, a vessel for a very great power to move through. And that changes the whole feeling of it, and is a way that you become aligned with universal energies. That's where all these like beautiful, identities and statements become so, you see them so evidenced in your reality, because you're like, oh, wow, I really am held. It really it really can just be brought to me, and I just show up and create. Okay, well, yeah, because if you align with those ideas that are coming from source, Source has got the whole power of the freaking universe behind it. You bet your ass it's going to bring you the thing. Like, you just make yourself available to it. And I love connecting that to the idea of manifestation, because I haven't really fully like spoken. Like, I feel like I haven't heard people talk about it in that wrapped up way where it's like, oh, we're thinking about manifestation to like create fun things. Like, okay, how about doing that through what the universe wants you to create? So you're already 10 steps ahead because it's in alignment with what is meant to be.
That's when it feels so much easier too, I feel,
Mhm.
because I'm seeing the cycle of all this, right? Like we're connected with this higher power. God gives us the instruction on what it is that we're meant to create with our unique gifts. And it's like this giving and receiving. It's like a beautiful dance with God, universe, source, where you are listening and receptive. You're open, you're receiving the instruction, and you're moving. Like you're going and you're moving. And I'm feeling into some of the subconscious limitations that can make this process a bit difficult for people. And one of them that's coming to mind is it's all on me. And this is what we tapped into with the Oracle activation, was letting people see that they are in a collaborative process with these higher powers. And when we remember who we are on a soul level, a part of what dissolves away is separation. And this illusion that we're out here hustling and efforting all on our own. And one of the greatest parts of this reality field that we're all living in is the collaborative process of being one with source. And I love that you mentioned right off the bat with like a manifestation question, you immediately opened up to, it's not just me doing it. I'm tuning in, I'm receiving the guidance, and I'm listening. And there is such beauty in that. Oh my goodness, I can remember specific parts of my journey where I remembered this and I felt it and I experienced it, where Bella and I are in flow with the mission. We get an idea for like the Oracle activation. We got that idea, we planned it, we set it live, we did it in a week, sold 100 tickets. Now I think like 150, something ridiculous like that. And that is such a pure example of me viscerally experiencing the 3D experience of remembering the connection, because we received the idea and the way that source comes in and takes care of things, where you're not out here like getting things done and manifesting things through effort or even like forcing yourself to feel a specific vibration. There is this openness and a softening and a trust and a surrender, and it just feels so natural because you recognize that source doesn't need you to be anything else than your full freaking self, and all that you get to be in that moment is a vessel. And in the act of being the vessel, you are aligning with your heart space, you're creating coherence, and you're literally elevating to synchronizing with the universal energies of abundance, of flow, of being cared for, love. It's all available. It's all right here. We all have access to it right in this immediate moment. And through aligning and hearing the cues of, okay, yes, this is the idea that I got. I'm going to now create it and do it. You're agreeing, this is now what we talked about in the mission activation, to be the vessel, and things get taken care of for you, for you. You don't have to do it all on your own. And the biggest illusion is that you've never been doing it on your own.
It's so funny when we think about it, especially for people creating on social media who are like, who think that it's them doing it on their own. It's like, no, you're not. You could never even create that if you didn't have the people watching, if you didn't have someone who like enjoyed it. You know, we're just never on our own. And it's so beautiful. And, you know, I've gotten, obviously getting to work with you two behind the scenes, you know, I've seen both of you be the embodiments of everything you're talking about, which is why when you invited me to come into the portal and do sessions, it was just every cell of my body was like, yes, what an honor. Like these women are doing it. They're walking the embodiment of this path, like creating miracles behind the scenes that I get to celebrate with you guys for regularly. It's magic. I remember when you had that idea for, I think it might have been the Oracle session. You guys asked me, you're like, wait, is it crazy that we do this fast? I'm like, no, do it. Are you kidding me? You received the mission, go. Like, go play with what's coming through. And this is where the new paradigm of business has got to come in. You know what I mean? Because old school marketing was like, well, you need a launch window and you need this, and this. And you no, you don't. No, you don't. When God's running the show, you don't. It just happens. It works. And, you know, like I've gotten to work with you, Nikki, for like Bella, it's years now. I mean, we're maybe going on 2 years, which is so special that you've been in my sphere and so beautiful. And Nikki, maybe 5, 6 years was when we first worked together. And it's like, from day one, I've seen you do this. I've seen you do exactly what you just described so beautifully, where you've tuned in and you've listened and you've waited and you went when the time was ripe. Even in times that, like, you know, like you going onto YouTube was something you wanted to do for a while, but Like, imagine if you tried to do it a moment too soon, like, it just wasn't happening. But then God said, go. And it's like, look at this, women, go. The world's ready for it. They want more of it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just so beautiful seeing both of you just do the things that you're describing too. You know what I mean? Because this isn't like a random podcast episode where there's like a guest that you don't really know, but you're interested in them and asking questions. Like, we know what be going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And like, it's just
Yeah.
so cool because on my end, like, I work with you guys on a subconscious level. So I see the depth of your being, and you guys are being what you're describing. I'm like, this is so cool because this is authenticity, like at its finest, like the words you're using is your lived experience. And it's such a pleasure. It's just, I had to say that. It's such a pleasure. It's so cool to witness.
I
Thank you.
receive and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, even putting myself in your shoes, like that is so cool to like feel like you have been on a freaking journey with us. Even can we just
Cry.
reflect on our transformation of the 7 months of our one-on-one container?
No, it's
These women are magic. This is so insane. Just so insane.
Yeah. I just always feel like the work works. I'm like
The
always
work
saying it, the
works.
work works. The
Yeah.
work
works.
fucking works.
It's so funny to come into spaces like this and like talk about it. It's like every single time I'll get better and better as I grow too. But every single time I talk about it, I'm like, oh, just come into a session, come into the portal, come
No.
in and see
you have
it.
to experience it.
yeah.
You have to experience it. It really is profound. And it's just so wonderful because then even thinking about not just like the clearest example, right? When we're in sessions, these containers that we do, to then watch your fellow human beings go through these transformations, to look at them knowing that they are in full power, that they are already healed, right? They're already free. To watch a person go through their transformation is so unbelievably rewarding. I mean, I think it really tugs on like one of the core reasons why we're these tribal connected beings, like why even have a life partner and marriage and all these beautiful things, right? It's like to witness human being, to witness your cluster, your tribe to evolve and transcend and grow, and doing it within the context and paradigm of what we're doing here. Such true honor and privilege, like wow, like best TV show ever. Am I right? It's like just your people, like just your movement of people going through their transformations and then going out into life and creating, and it's profound. It's the truest, deepest joy.
Yeah.
I could go on forever about
like,
how powerful it is.
All of our spaces, like I know you guys are like this as well too. A lot of, our worlds merge with the people who come into our spaces. They're merging more and more, which is so cool. But there's people from all walks of life, doctors, lawyers, finance people. Like I have men who are in IT, like it's everywhere. And then these beings go back and bring their true of soul essence into what they do, and it lights up the grid of this planet in such a beautiful way. And to get to do that together, and to get to witness one another, and to see someone like it's like to see someone become the divinity that you've always seen in them, to witness them do it, to witness them overcome the things and show up time and time again, and then blow us away with what that being does. It's the biggest gift in the world. It's what a blessing. What a gift.
Truly. I'm so happy we're speaking to this because I have such gratitude. It feels like such also just an anchor of how we choose to go about this life, is to be in these kinds of spaces and to even then have ourselves be the anchor to bring this energy to other places that aren't necessarily like, a container meant for this, right? But is like to the upliftment that happens by just being in the presence, like that weekly commitment to, even if all you do is just listen with an open heart, never raise your hand, never come off mute, all the things, you still are uplifted by just the witnessing of humans coming back to their divinity.
Tapping in to that changes things. Tapping in every week to limitless potential changes things. And like, there is there is something, we know this in science, called the mental gravitational field. It might be considered a little more fringe science. Sometimes I don't realize what is mainstream yet because I'm not following mainstream as much, but I do sometimes. But there's a mental gravitational field, meaning there's a collective consciousness. That's a more spiritual term for it. So there's a collective consciousness in the fields we step into. And it's why the famous saying, the rising tide lifts all boats, exists. So even when someone just steps in and they might be going through something that they might not raise their hand, they might not be a part of it. It's like what we feel when we join this podcast, when we really let our hearts know I belong here. Because if we
Mm.
listen to a podcast and we're not in the essence of like, I belong here, I'm meant to be here, we can listen to it in a more judgmental way. And like trying to pick out what someone says that they don't believe in. They're trying to pick, like, it's a
Mm.
weird thing the ego does when they think they don't belong. But when we come into a
Mm.
podcast or come into a space, a container where this exists is more effective because someone's invested to be there. They're signing up for it every week. It creates a strong mental gravitational field. But we could do this on a podcast where we like let the ego dissolve and we just say, I'm meant to be here. I'm meant to be listening to this. I don't have to pick out what I believe in, what I don't. I can just let my heart listen and be inspired. Let my heart go on the journey as if I'm sitting with a best friend. It's like now we're accessing the mental gravitational field. We're open to it. And through that openness, a rising tide lifts all boats. Now the sum of the whole becomes uplifted because we're all a part of it. We're all part of co-creating something even greater. And then from that space, it uplifts, and everyone benefits from the teachers, from the listeners, from the animals that are in the rooms of the people who are listening to the call. Like it all gets impacted in such a beautiful way. And it's magic to co-create. It's like, this is what humans have been meant to be doing. And do I think it's meant to be
Oh.
online? No, but what a gift. You know, what a gift that it can be online and we'll bring it in person more and more and more. But like this is us building this new paradigm of what's possible when a rising tide lifts all boats together. And we step in with an open heart. You know, we
Yeah.
step in and we're like, I belong here. I'm meant to be here. So let me open my heart and receive and go on the ride. You know?
Oh my gosh.
It's so beautiful that you're speaking to this because the
Yeah.
episode that we released today, we wanted our listeners to see that when they put their headphones on or when they're listening to this podcast, they are a part of this.
Yes.
And we spoke for like a good 20 minutes. I was listening to this episode this morning when I was on the treadmill, and I'm like, wow, we really went in on this. And when I completed the episode, I was having just so much clarity come in on how guided Bella and I are with the sequence of how we release these episodes and the way that we're guided to tune into certain topics. But what you're speaking to is giving me so much more awareness on the why as to why Source guided us to create the episode that we released today. Because there
Wow.
is a huge shift that happens in someone's field when they go from a listener that's like, I think I was speaking to this on the episode where you go from being a listener where it's like, there's these girls out there talking about a way of being that's out there to
Mm.
holy crap, this is resonating with me. It is in my field. I'm listening to them talk because I am in this world. I am
Yes.
one with it. And we spoke for so long about how we're just playing a specific role in this. We're the ones that are speaking out the this is what this wall looks like. This is how you access this doorway. This is how you turn this key. We're just the ones bringing awareness to what is already within someone's life. And what we wanted to do with that episode was prime our awareness to spot more of it and to really go from thinking that there's something out there that needs to, like, I even gave the example in the episode of like, you don't need to go to Bali to experience this. It's right in the room that you're in right now to see that you're in this paradigm right here, right now. And what we wanted to do was to widen our awareness on what's already within our current reality field so that we can experience more. And our whole goal with the episode was to allow the listeners to render more of that in their reality field through a widened awareness. So I just love what you're speaking to now. It's like making things, whew, I'm just like,
Yeah.
one, we are so freaking guided, like all of us. But I'm just thinking about Bella and I specifically with the way that we release these episodes and why we share certain topics. And what you just spoke to gave me so much clarity around the, what is it? The mental gravitational field. Is that what you're referencing it
Yeah.
as?
Yeah. And the spiritual terms, collective consciousness, you know, group
Yes.
consciousness. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what we say Om is. It's a paradigm. You step inside. I like to see it as a castle. You are drawn to the castle and you get inside the castle and you recognize that you're like, oh, wait, I built that wall over there. That was me. I did that. It's just Bella and Nikki being like, hey, here's the wall. You see it?
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
the castle of like whoever it is that you're listening to. It's not like know thyself. It's not Andre's cat. Like, I'm speaking to these leaders that are more outspoken and more public facing. We're just bringing awareness to the world that you are inside of already. And
Yeah.
that is a big shift. That's a big shift. And that's what we experience too when Bella and I step inside of programs, whether it be ours, whether it be yours. We're like, wow, we're in the world. We are now
Yeah.
inside of this castle, and this is how this reality field works. And then we step off the call and we're still in the castle and we bring that castle with us. Yeah, that's a big shift to feel into.
It is. It is. And it changes the way we hear things. It changes the way we
Yes.
listen. It opens the heart to like really receive. And I think there's a reason why some people might think they don't belong in spaces or they listen as if someone's out there. It's like a little bit of protection. People are like, well, I don't know, what are they gonna say? But like we're so safe, we're so held here, we're meant to be here. You belong here. There's no way to come across this episode to be listening at this point if you weren't, a part of the consciousness we share, if you weren't tuned in, like Nikki's saying, to the frequency that we already are, and we're just sharing the reminders. It's like in every container, that's what I like to teach in these containers in the beginning, especially more and more lately. It's just like, you belong here, you're meant to be here. We can put down any of the defenses. Just allow yourself
Mm.
to listen and receive and realize that no one's talking at someone else. We're helping one another remember. Some of us just have a mission to do that. So we started sooner or we went on the path at a different time so that there's a person behind us and we can be like, hey, I've remembered this. I have had some codes to support you to remember. But the more we stop listening to people as if they're like some girl on the internet, and we're like, that's a real
Mm.
person who's like sharing from the depth of their heart because they live something, they care about something, they've seen miracles happen, and they want to remind one another of that. The more it's like we can start opening our hearts to like see the sister in one another, see the
Mm.
friend, the best friend in one another, like the soul family in one another. And
Mm.
it's a beautiful way to listen. It's a beautiful way to realize that we're a part of something. It's important too, in my
Yes.
opinion. It's important to do.
Very. Yeah, this is the energy behind what I'll say at the beginning of almost every session is listen with your whole body, or like listen as if your heart had ears and could take this in. So it's not existing in this mental plane of, does that make sense? Does it not make sense? Is this correct? Is this not? This is not how we're doing it. And that literally, it's the openness, the surrender, the softness. And in that space is where revelations drop in, where you can actually develop your own unique perspective, not because you had to, because you were not sure if you belonged or were okay there, but because you are already complete, you belong, you're meant to be here. So now let's see what there is to explore. And yeah, my goodness, wow, I'm just
It's so good, right? Like, think about going to like a party and you feel like, who are these people? I don't like, do they like me? Do they not like me? Like, are they vibing? Do
yeah,
they want to talk about like multidimensional consciousness or are they like not about it? Like, do I belong here? Like, if we go
so
into a
real.
party with that energy, it's like very quickly our energy field can shrink and we want to leave and
Yeah.
go home. But when we step into a room with our best friends and we know we belong, we know we're about to have amazing connection. It's like we can talk until 5 a.m. and it doesn't matter because we're having the time of our lives. And what I think it's important to remember is like that level of connection is available at any moment. You know what I mean? It's just about us being
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm here for a reason. I belong here. I matter. So let's open the heart and listen with the whole body, like Bella say, and see where
Mm.
it takes us, see what remembering it sparks. I remember it's funny that you mentioned Andre because I remember when I was first like going all in on this work, I realized this. I was like meditating on this. I think this was maybe 7 years ago, somewhere along that path. And it was Blues podcast back in the day. So I don't know, I guess they're friends. So it was them back in the day. I don't know them that well now. So if any of these people did anything that are like, whatever, it was a long time ago. You never know these days. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't follow them anymore. They're great though. But I remember.
They still are.
Okay, that's cool to know because I really vibed with them back in the day. They were really, really cool. I really felt like they were like real ones, you know? But I remember something changed. It changed in me. I realized that I'm not listening to like someone on a screen. Like this is a soul before me who's like a soul family, which is why I came across this podcast. And I remember me and my friend at the time who used to co-create a lot together, we were driving to California. And we were on our way to California and we decided, we're like, wait, these are our friends. What are we doing? These are just our friends. You know, they're soul friends, which is why we're listening. So let's talk as if they're our friends. And me and my friend would pause the podcast when we wanted to talk about something and then have our own conversation as we were listening, as if we were like in the conversation with them. And it was so much fun. We got to California. A day later, we get invited to a party at Ezra's house. And that's where Blue was. And that's where I met Peter Crone in person. That's where I met all these people that I was following online after pretending to have a conversation with them in the car. It was like 7 years ago. It was so funny and it was so adorable.
Wow.
Like the little me who like didn't even know this world existed, listening to this podcast, pretending to be their friend, and now I'm sitting at a party with them. They're pretty cool people, you know what I mean? Like they're fun friends. So it was really cool. I didn't keep in touch with them. I moved away from California like a week after I went to Arizona, lived there, but they were cool when I met them. But it's so funny that you mentioned that because it was a big lesson for me back in the day.
I actually have a similar story where I was listening to their podcast, his podcast, Andre's, and then remember Nikki, who I actually
Yes, she took
met
one of my
you through?
first trainings. Yeah, one of my first trainings. She took Heart-Led Leaders. Yeah.
Yes. I ended up doing an in-person session with her and she was staying at Andre's house. So I like went there and did an in-person session at his house. And then a few days later, she had left LA and she was like, hey, I got a package delivered there. Would you mind going and picking it up? So I went there with Nala and he opened the door and he just had such a beautiful energy to him.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget like the potency of his frequency. It was just so grounded and so beautiful. But I remember later that week, I was listening to his episode with, I think his name is Lucas. He is this breathwork facilitator that has head to toe tattoos. Him and his wife do epic in-person breathwork facilitation. And I was listening to Andre's podcast and I was like, wow, this guy is so cool. And I remember thinking again, I had the same shift that you're describing. When I was listening to that episode, I was like, he's just sharing his gifts in his lane. And this is so cool that he's just like a human being. And I was seeing it more as like depedestalizing someone that I'm pedestalizing their gifts for. And I walk outside, I'm taking Nala for a walk and I fucking bump into him. He's on his e-bike crossing the road and I said something to him. This is the first time I ever like said something to someone who I had listened to or saw online. And I went up to him and he was waiting at the light with his e-bike. And I said, I literally just listened to a podcast with you and your work is incredible. And thank you so much for sharing your light with the world. And he was like, he has a British accent. He was like, oh, thank you so much. Like, or I think Australian, I can't remember, but just so crazy. I'm just like reflecting on what you're pointing out is like when you feel into the field of all of us being in this together and really feeling into that, you experience that in your reality field. And it's just so, so beautiful. I feel like we highlighted this as well with the retreat, where when we were all together on the retreat, there was such a moment of our community and us too, like we're all feeling into the beauty of like, we are freaking in this together. Like we are truly in this together. And something that Bella and I love to highlight is that like we could all pass the mic around and share our unique gifts and help each other in really powerful ways. And I felt like there was this huge shift for me at the retreat where I was like, wow, I could just fully be myself, fully let go, fully allow myself to be seen in all of the different aspects of who I am. And that is the magic of what this paradigm calls forward is like, you are just as sacred and special as the person who is under the spotlight for that moment, sharing their gifts. And this is something that I feel with the portal too, because we create that field and that paradigm, it naturally awakens the genius within each being. When we speak to that, when we speak to this knowing that we all have our own unique codes within, it is inevitable that someone is sitting there in that gravitational field and they feel that awaken within them. They feel their own genius awaken within them. It's happened to me, and I really honor even my relationship with Bella and our friendship, like just being in her presence alone with genius activation and DNA awakening and her being an expert in this field. It has literally awoken me to my own unique genius. It is beautiful. Like I went from being this subconscious healer that was learning the ropes from you and doing sessions in that way to recognizing that I have my own unique genius that wants to come through even more. And this is
It
why
was
with the
so inspiring to see you claim that. Like, oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh, that goes in the books as like, that was so inspiring because it's so bold because like you built an identity, a business in this way, and like you activated your genius working with Bella, like you're saying, your own, your own keys, your own genius, and you freaking stepped into it. You said,
Yeah.
oh, this is what I'm here to do. This is how I'm here to serve. It was so inspiring to see that. I had to jump in and say that, but I'm sorry I
Thank you.
interrupted you.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. And I really do receive it. It was, I want to say it was difficult. It wasn't difficult. It was scary. It was scary to say, I'm going to close off my applications and to cut off like that stream of income for myself. But the rest wasn't difficult at all. Like it was an obvious choice to be like, you know what, Sarah, come into the portal. Please share your gifts of this. Like, please be the facilitator of this energetic way of healing and all of these beautiful gifts that you have to share. And through that, what I'm really painting here is the awareness that we each have individual gifts within. And when you honor that within another being, there's something that just wakes up inside of you where it makes living your mission so, I don't, like all the words are coming to me, fulfilling, activating, aligned, joyous, like all of the things. But even me with my YouTube journey, I was just really starting to see the gifts that I have. I'm like, okay, wow, I can take really complex teachings, spiritual teachings, and allow people to experience these shifts in their consciousness through the way that I formulate sentences and the way that I share analogies and stories. And I'm like, that's what I want to focus on. I want to focus on giving more of that to people and through the experiences and curating these beautiful productions with the activations that we do. I'm like, that is where I want to fucking pour my heart into. Like, that's what's calling me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm so grateful for the both of you because being in the presence of both of you and your genius and your expertise, this is just the paradigm. It woke something up in me. Like I didn't have to do anything. It just happened.
It was also so obvious. Like when you did it, I was like, wow, bold move, like inspirational AF and like so obvious. Like, duh, this is what you're born to do. Like you're meant to do this. And I want to say something. I want to tie this into, because I feel like I want to hear Bella riff on this because like I'm like waiting to hear the codes coming through Bella. This is so her genius. But I want to say one thing before we let you fly, because there is something that changes. And this is why I shared that story. And I feel like another reason why, like we talk about belonging when we're listening to something like this, but I want to talk to creatives and those on a mission. Because there's something about the journey that changed in me when I told that story before that forever changed me when I realized this. Because there's something about doing this work of service and living in our mission where there's a period of time where we are efforting a lot and we're figuring it out. It's like we're new, we're figuring it out, but what happens for people is they think that they're going to get to some place where there's some kind of evidence that makes them think they finally belong as successful people, or they finally belong with the people that they've pedestaled. And it's like, no. That starts from within. We make that shift within. We realize that there is no separation. We realize that we are sharing our genius with the world and it's precious. Exactly where we are is precious and there's no hierarchy. However, we can be inspired by how other people have like really, really devoted themselves and mastered their genius. Like we can be inspired by it, but we do not need the pedestal. And then something awakens too and activates where we're like, wait, I am already at this next level. I am already sharing my genius. I am already living my gifts. We realize there's no out there we're getting to, we are it. And then the game starts. You know, people try to like create collaborations or get opportunities. And I know that some people's design, maybe Bella can tell us about that. Some people's design, that's who it's for. But I found that when we play, in this energy of like, oh, those are my friends. That feels good. The best collaborations in the world happen. The best opportunities happen when we depedestalize and we're like, oh, I vibe with their mission. The universe just puts things together. I remember before I spoke at Conscious Life Expo, you came to that, which was so cool. I got to hug you in person. Before I spoke at Conscious Life Expo, I was watching a live with Tim Tactics and Sarah Cosby. And when I was watching the live, because I knew Sarah, I didn't know Tim before that, but I knew Sarah. I was watching their live and I was like, I'm so friends with them. Like, I just feel it. Like, I'm just best friends with them. I feel it. I vibe with their missions. I respect them. I'm just friends with them. Get to Conscious Life Expo, a client of mine reaches out to Sarah Cosby, who was friends with her, an old client of mine, and is like, you got to meet Sarah Zula. You guys are supposed to be friends. I wound up collaborating with Sarah Cosby for a full year. We led a retreat together. Obviously,
Wow.
Tim and I still collaborate. Like, what? It was right after I watched the live and I was like, oh, they're gonna be my friends. You know? So it's like this energy of just like, I could have totally pedestaled them. They both have endless shows on Gaia TV. Like, they're both established in different ways, New York Times bestsellers. Like, I could have easily pedestaled, but that wasn't even a thought in my mind in that moment. You know, in that moment, I'm just like, oh, they're my friends. We're both on a mission. And the universe is like, okay, combine their missions. Go ahead, go.
Yeah.
It's the best. It was so much fun. So much fun. Yeah.
Wow.
It's so fun. But like, I'm sharing these stories because like the more we depedestalize and we just listen with belonging and open the heart and enjoy ourselves, the more like the mission just moves for us. We start meeting people that maybe before, like Nikki was saying, she wouldn't have said something to someone, but that she's like, wait, we're friends. So like, let me say something. And you never know what comes from that. It's like the efforting gets cut down by 1,000 because God's like, oh, we're just going to show you good feelings of like feeling like best friends with people. And we're going to show you insights to like go say something to someone because yeah, but they're going to connect things for you. It's magic. It's magic. But we've got to depedestalize to be able to let the magic happen and honor ourselves and honor where we are in our gifts and not judge ourselves for wherever we are and see how precious it is that we are exactly where we are.
Yeah, I what I had coming through was the energetics of awakening to activating and embodying one's genius and therefore expressing one's gifts, and almost like on the flip side, the same energy of if we pedestalize others for the gifts that they have and put ourselves lower, but then also this idea of being possibly afraid that being in our full expression of our gifts and our genius could possibly take away or be too much for others. And these are just such illusions of what it really means to be in one's genius and one's gifts, because first of all, we call it a gift for a reason, right? Most people actually really enjoy receiving gifts. And if they don't, that's on them, not you, right? But most of us can align with this idea that it is a beautiful thing to give a gift. It is an act of service, of love. And not only that, to just go even deeper onto what it really means as humans and as souls to express our gifts, is it's imagining the self as like that you can be filled to the brim, and right on the edge of where you're about to express, if you decide to hold that back, it's literally capping and keeping within all of this beautiful energy that wants to pour out. And so what happens is when you let that energy finally flow out of you, which is to say to express your gifts, to do that thing, to be the impact, to speak, to dance, to write, to whatever that thing is where your gifts come alive, you are literally exploding with life force energy and sending that out to the field. And it is impossible to take, quote unquote, take away or be too much or too little, whatever angle of that. It's impossible because your gifts are just divine natural functions of who you are. And it's you giving back to the ecosystem that you're a part of and the ecosystem giving back to you. And I even feel this with artists and creatives who are waking up to see their art, their creation, their expression, whatever field you're in, to see that truly as a service as something that someone else is praying for, right? I love that idea that someone else is literally praying for and asking for what you have to give. And even on a bigger scale, it's a way to say thank you to your creator, to the universe, to the one that is the source where all of these energetic archetypes and flavors and gifts and skills can even come from. To say thank you to that is to express those. And the suppression of that is, coming from a false perception that it can be too much or too little, we don't have it, or if we do give our gifts, someone else is going to feel left out. No. Think about how we're speaking about seeing each other's gifts come online. It actually creates more space because suddenly everyone drops into their groove, right? And your alignment helps the alignment of others. It's impossible. There's no give take. It's all an overabundance of room and space for everyone. And that's because we're all so uniquely designed. I mean, two people cannot even literally take up the same place in time and space at the same time. Like, we are so unbelievably unique and individuated while also being part of this one experience, this oneness. Your gifts tap you into that. That's why it feels so good. And you tap into this joyousness, this overflowing, this vitality, because you're doing what you were meant to do. And you're also tapping into your natural function and you're aligning with the natural forces of the universe. And then you're even more open to receive because you've popped yourself in your groove. And then any other sparks that are meant to be flamed by somebody else's gifts, you're even more open to it because you're not living in that world anymore of the zero-sum game or that, oh, if this person up here, down, that doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And that energy in the hearts of artists and creatives and entrepreneurs is powerful. Because now think about the products we sell, the services, the things we give. They do not come from an energy of, I have something, you don't, and I gotta, like, I'm up here and you're down. No, it's done from an energy of equality and love and seeing the fullness of other beings. And that is so empowering. Think about like the empowered decision to then invest, to support a company, a small business, or to step into a space with people who speak to you from that fullness, from that equalness of seeing the fullness of your soul. That in and of itself is like a gravitational field that is incredibly uplifting and wakes up what's already in there. Like, it's no wonder seeing each other in our gifts and our genius wakes up the same thing, because we're recognizing like, oh, soul to soul, I see you. Like, takes one to know one in the energy of like the limitless nature that we are, the gift geniuses, the genius that we have within. And then the last thing I want to say is on this collective scale with Earth itself, like the Earth is is shifting and remembering. And I just had this kind of phrase come to me that like, we're in the epic story of humanity, we're on the comeback part. Like, this is the comeback story of humanity. And whenever there's a comeback, the people in that movie and in that story, they step into their power and they step into what they know they can really do. It's like the scene with the montage where they're like clicking all their gears in and the superheroes like putting the mask on. It's like with the epic music, that's the comeback. They just went down to the depths of their soul. The comeback is here. Integral to that is the stepping into the gifts and the expression. And that is how we truly alchemize and create heaven on earth. We remember heaven through our genius, because it drops us into the joyousness, to the heart. Because in the genius journey, activating the genius in your gifts, you come up against your limitations. You come up against all the things that you think you don't have the capacity. And then it's like, start the podcast episode over and realize that it's all just rigged in our favor.
It's a big loop and it's so beautiful. And what I'm seeing is like, when you're talking about this, it's so beautiful. And what I'm seeing is this playground. It becomes such a playground because like a little kid going in and being like, I have this cool treat. Do you guys want some? You know what I mean? Like a little kid being like, oh, and my mom made this. Like, do you like this? And then the other little kid being like, I want to play pretend. Let's go do this over here. And it makes the space better. It's why playing in the playground is so fun. Because we're going to play and other kids bring different ideas and different stuff, and it's such a joy. But like something along the way, some programming, some subconscious programming around competition, fear, the limitations came in and made people think they needed to be something they weren't to go play. When really the whole hack is like, no, Go be that authentic little kid that's weird, that says things funny, that like does weird stuff, and go play. And watch the kids want to play in the playground. Watch the playground start being full of people who are like, I don't know who that is, but like they're playing and I want to go play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the biggest hack is that essence of tuning into what you're saying, of like tuning into your own gifts, but I'm also hearing like authenticity, like just go play, go be you. And it's such a gift. It becomes a giant playground, which is the best.
Bella, I'm curious for you where you see the link of genius activation and subconscious healing, and where those two modalities and also way of approaching one's journey, they start to complement each other.
Mm.
And they dance and they do the work
Yeah.
for each other.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think in a way it's honestly just using a different language to describe the same process that is so natural to us humans and that now we're becoming aware of and putting more conscious effort and intention into. But to me, the biggest connection point is, how one speaks about the limitation, which maybe we could call like the shadow or the unrealized potential and expression of a gift, and to see those as the gold and the portal to what the soul is really here to express or to experience. And then the power of the heart, opening the heart to that experience, to that memory, that limitation, that story, and transforming that into what will then turn into your flip side of freedom or expression or genius gift or the acidic expression of a gift, if we're using the Gene Keys frameworks. And it all follows a rhythm of a 3D experience, a point of resistance, a project that is really challenging you, and saying, okay, here's the good stuff, diving into that, and then realizing the gold that is in there, and then rearranging, you actively rearranging and watching your reality be rearranged because of this new perspective and the energy you've just released from your being because of either the transformation of a limitation or a shadow or a point of resistance or whatever was coming up as a mirror to you by this project that you're working on. And it's all a doorway into who we truly are, how we really function, and to then uncap that life force energy and potential and abilities that we can't even fully describe that we have as humans. Yeah, I think the combination of these is just powerful because it makes the language that we use even more, like we're getting closer and closer to the x-axis to be able to actually hit like what is really happening. And the more we speak it, the more we can observe it and the more it gets amplified. So it's just like mega life hack. Like, I don't know how we did this, guys, but we got the manuals for this game. Like we got them all. It's like this manual, this one for this level, for that level, for this little thing that happens over here. Like, and then they're all really decoding the same thing, but they give us a different kind of like in and out point and way of conceptualizing it. And of course we have something that we kind of naturally feel like drawn to that happens to speak a certain flavor that hits our soul a little bit more and really allows openness of the heart to drop into transformation.
Yeah. Codes, straight codes. I'm like, y'all writing this down. This is the manual right here. We're literally creating,
Truly.
We haven't picked a name for it, but we're creating this book that is going to include what we view as the tools that really alter one's reality field. And this is, again, just the tools that we're going to be diving into in the portal. But we have this idea of creating this like Bible that includes all the different like subconscious healing, DNA awakening, genius activation, heart coherence, like all of these physical tools that actually just bring us more deeply into the energetic realm of coding our reality and creating alignment and activating our genius. And I'm really excited for Bella and I to sit down and kind of write this. But I wanted to share with you, Sarah, that we're going to include, obviously, subconscious healing is such a big part of this. And we're going to plug this episode, your profile, so that people can click into your world and really learn more about the world of subconscious healing. And yeah, I feel like this conversation has been so incredibly beautiful. I'm just imagining the energy that you guys are all feeling. And what I invite you guys to feel into is this invitation that you have stepped inside of a paradigm that is so of service to you, and you are being called to now be of service to it. And what we are painting here with this beautiful world of subconscious healing is one of the modalities that allows that relationship to truly flourish, on a soul level, where you are contributing and really decoding your own psyche and your own energy by becoming more in sync with that field, and the relationship just starts to flourish. It's like a relationship with another being, but this is a relationship with source, with God. And subconscious healing is a tool that Bella and I have utilized in our own life as this incredible pathway to syncing up with source and opening up our hearts and being one with all of life, all of creation. And I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of both of our hearts for coming into the world of Om, for giving your genius and your gifts to our community. I cannot wait for the portal. Like literally every morning I wake up and I'm like, are we almost there? Are we almost there? We like started popping off in the Slack chat, which we have to add you to. And we're just so freaking excited. You guys listening, the portal is our 6-month experience that starts on January 21st. And Sarah is actually going to be facilitating one of the monthly calls. So the program includes 4 calls, weekly calls, and the 3rd call of the month is going to be specifically for the world of subconscious healing, and it's going to be facilitated by Sarah. The first call is going to be an activation call, which is where we guide our Om signature journeys. We're dropping into the frequency of the month. We're doing channeled transmissions. It's a moment to really feel the frequency that wants to come alive for you for the month ahead. The second call is going to be us dropping into the codes, deeper lessons. You can imagine that as more of like classroom style, but really an opening of your energetic field to reveal codes that are ready to access and that you're ready to tap into within yourself. The third call, the subconscious healing call, and then the 4th call is Q&A community. So like gathering as a community, Q&A style. It's like the perfect freaking lineup. I am so excited. We're going to go to the moon. Like we already have been flying to the moon, but we're about to go to another moon. Like we're on the voyage to the next
all
moon.
Of the moons.
It's going to be magic.
Epic. Thank you guys so much for inviting me. I'm so excited to meet the people and the creators and the leaders who are saying yes to this, because it's about to be insane. And it's like the behind the scenes of this is like the program itself was always going to be insane. You two are magic, like pure magic at what you do. So always going to be insane. I'm so honored to come in and support in the way that I am. I'm so honored to be a part of it. I'm definitely going to be on your calls receiving. I'm so excited for that. And I'm like feeling into like us 3 behind the scenes. We're flying. Anyone who wants to come and step into our sphere, any of our spheres right now are about to fly with us. You know what I mean? It's like that type of energy. Like there's a vortex of momentum that had been built in our fields. You know, in all of our fields, we've been living it, we're running on it, we're flying on it, and now it's like, just come fly. You know what I mean? Just
get on the rocket ship.
Get on the rocket ship, because we're going.
Yeah.
That's what I see.
It's so epic.
It's gonna be profound. I'm so honored, Sarah. Right back at you. Just like words just don't even suffice. The thank you that I try to express of not just what I have received on a personal level from getting to work with you, being in your spaces, becoming a friend, like soul freaking sisters on this path, and the receiving of your gifts, the work you do, the transformation, the ripple effect that you can take credit for, if you will, in this, if you will, just to go along with what I'm saying, just to honor the work you've done, the impact you've had. It is profound, truly. And I'm lucky that I have siblings that have stepped into your world here and there and have experienced it, not to mention all of the Omis that we know that are tapped into you, not to mention all the people that I've witnessed on your mastermind calls, the free sessions, the program we're in now. I mean, it's wild. And I just want you guys to know, as the listeners, like, you guys know we don't bring guests on the show very often. I think we've had 3 before this in the 100+ episodes. And when we bring someone on, and we, especially right now, speaking to Sarah, like, this is a top, what's the word I'm looking for? Creme de la creme human. This is a top. This is a human who walks her talk, who embodies the teachings, who is leading, holding the frequency. Truly, it is an honor to get to witness your fullness and to be guided by you, to be a friend on this path. And this is why we're bringing her into the portal, because this is the kind of mental gravitational field we are creating. And Sarah is a quintessential part of that, who holds that up just by being present, just by her little square in the Zoom room. She holds that, not to mention when she guides the whole session and blows your freaking mind, blows your heart open. So thank you, truly.
I could cry. Thank you so much. It means beyond the world to me. It's such a gift. So thank you so much for those words. It means a lot to me, truly.
Of course. So it is just all true and natural to say. So, Nikki, is there anything else we want to tap into before we close out, and anything else we want to, or maybe either you or Sarah could close us out, whatever we feel.
Yeah, I will say that look below. There's going to be all the links to Sarah's profile, her Instagram, her offerings, the portal. Both the activations will be down there if you guys haven't checked those out. Know that if you do sign up for the portal, you get free access to all the activations, right? They receive an immediate code. Yeah. So if you are going to purchase in a certain order, I would come into the portal first, and then you have access to the activations, which are freaking epic. So yeah, we are going to be continuing the 6-week party that this has really initiated for us. We're going to keep diving into these tools that have really shifted our lives in just such epic and beautiful ways. And thank you again, Sarah, for being here. I can just feel the fucking magic that everyone is feeling from being in your energy field. And this is just such a long time coming, but the divinity of this timing now, it feels so right. Feels so right. So
I'm
freaking right.
so honored. Thank you so much. And everyone listening, it's an honor to get to share with you and be a part of this community in this way. So thank you. Just thank you both. I adore you both so much.
Wow.
Let's build that paradigm, guys.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you when we see you. We love you. Bye.
Bye.